Artificial intelligence, AI, automation, and the quest to reclaim what makes us unique. Yes, this is from Harvard Business Press about artificial intelligence. But I'm not sure this is something like you already heard or know before. We are not talking about something existential crisis or what's AI going to trouble us. We are not going to go to the future. Also, we are not going to go to the past. Instead, we are going to stay in the present and look at where AI is now and how it is affecting us. So that's by Thomas Chamorro. Interesting book by Harvard Business Review, and it is an interesting one as well. So if you look at artificial intelligence, maybe you think some names now, but actually artificial intelligence started, I don't know, from the known one. I will tell the very beginning when we write a software code or something. But right now, all the people like Elon Musk told that it is a trouble to our fundamental existence. But he is going and building Neuralink now. And Bill Gates told that he has concerns about artificial intelligence. But Microsoft is now investing on ChatGPT. So it's all there. And now we have artificial intelligence where it is finishing up the composition of Schubert, which he missed. And we have Google AI, which go through all the 1000 books and create a poem. So we have a poet now in AI. We have a composer in AI, and we have many AIs as well. You see many names now in artificial intelligence. But those are not only artificial intelligence. The one you are watching now, is it social media, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, anything and everything which is collecting all, that is all AI. So how it is affecting us, just an analysis through where is it standing now and what is the relevance of artificial intelligence and us. Many things we may think that, okay, we are getting redundant or there is no relevance to human now. So all this relevance, how it is impacting us, where we are losing our identity, and how it is all those analysis by a research scientist, Thomas. That's all what we are going to talk in the book. Let's go straight into the book. Being in the AI age, in the 300,000 years of history of human being, our needs have not changed much. We are still manifestations or human tools. Like, okay, when we are hunter-gatherers, we were making tools to hunt. But later on, we built computers, we built rockets, we built aeroplanes, we built bitcoins, and we are building many more and more. So as a human being, our evolutions on the last 5 decades or something, just say after semiconductor, it has been not something like a biological evolution, but instead it was more about a social evolution. Technology, or especially intelligence or artificial intelligence or human-made intelligence, has made 3 impacts on us. First one is it makes us hyper-connected. Like you can simply just use your phone and WhatsApp to anybody. Datafication of you. So we started from a place where we have internet, which is interconnections of networks, then to Internet of Things, which IoT. We have a lot of examples, maybe Alexa, and then it goes to Internet to Internet of Things to U of Things. So you are getting used as a representation in the network. That is something more like AI is taken over something. So we are become like a predictable machines. So business of predictions. So that's where, like, for example, if you take somebody from 1950 and like somebody lived there, you ask them to time travel and you ask them to put it in the current generation. First of all, they will see that all the people suddenly they're all in phones. They don't have time to look at this person, and he will be totally out of focus or out of connected to this world, until the author is telling, until you give that person a phone. If you give that person a phone, everything is solved. Then he will become somebody in 2023. So that's where we are. So we are able to connect to the strangers. We are able to get predicted. So even Google, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you name it, Twitter. Even Peter Thiel told that we have been just dream about flying cars, but actually we got 140 characters. That's where we stand now. So that's our connection to the deep inside. We have somehow, as a social being, we have an urge to connect deep inside. That's all doing that one. So for sure, AI is boosting our productivity. AI is informing us to be so. But the point is that we are become the product here. Most of the things what we use are free. Like if you stop using data now, or if you stop collecting data now, then we may need another 1 century to analyze it. So we have that much of data. So it's something like a information overload. So unpaid supervisors, we are somehow the unpaid supervisors of machine learning algorithms. So more data, it doesn't mean that it's no more predictive. We don't know how much data is going to come. So for example, like Facebook acquired WhatsApp in I don't know the year, say some years ago, exact name, maybe you know it, but it was being bought for $19 billion. At that time, all of what WhatsApp has can be put it on a seminar room or a big hall. And that was a company on loss of 138 million in loss. And it was only having 10 million in revenue. But Facebook bought it for $19 billion. And what is actually right now, like almost like WhatsApp is something similar to using by that time it was 450 million users was there, but right now 2 billion was the users it has. So the point what Facebook, if you look at the business perspective of that, the mainly Facebook bought the data. Even 2021 they tried to merge the data of Facebook and WhatsApp together. And you see where it goes. So for sure, you are getting something free. But when you are getting something free, that simply means that you are the product. So that's what it is. So prediction machines. So 15.7 trillion by 2030. Artificial intelligence or such a thing like a predictable business is going to grow in that much grow. 80% of the Google revenue is coming from there. So even the point is that we are somehow in a surveillance capitalism. For sure, when you are using your phone, your data is being captured for sure. Maybe you know it already. You are viewing histories and all. But actually when you are not using your phone, that time also your data. So for sure you are something like a teacher to a machine learning algorithm. Or you are just feeding something, or you are a feeder or something like that. We also mostly Amazon decides what we want to buy, their predicting algorithm, and Facebook decide what you will watch, Netflix decide which movie you will watch. So such things, the things are going on. Even the pandemic, we have a lot of theories around how the pandemic happened, but COVID-19 somehow exaggerated or elevated that part. And 2021, the most of the companies grow too big. that S&P 500, almost 25% of the S&P 500 was acquired by Amazon, Facebook, Google, and Apple and Facebook, Alphabet. So it's more like that. So GDP of US is 20.5 and China is 13.4, Japan 4.9. So all these 5 companies are worth more than that. It's more than $8 trillion. So that's where we stand. So if you look at, like maybe you heard in the news and all, China using surveillance capitalism and all. So imagine a scenario where you forgot to give a tip to a waiter in a restaurant and a bank decline a loan for you. That could be possible in surveillance capitalism. So that's where that much vulnerable. So we are living in an AI age and we are something like a predictable machines and algorithm. That's where we the first chapter stand. Let's go deep into it further. Weapons of mass distraction, not distraction, distraction. So where the attention goes, the time goes there. So we live in somehow like an information overload. We are being bombarded by that. So we live in a wealth of information and we are living in a poverty of attention. Maybe you have look at our earlier book about attention deficit disorder and all by Scattered Minds by Gaberman. Something discussing similar there. So printing press, for sure in 19th century, printing press or printing was somehow one of the greatest inventions of mankind. That changed everything. You can compile the information, the decades of our lifetime of information for generations to come. So that was there. That was about the data. But right now, companies battle for attention. One of the greatest things happen on economy was behavioral economics, which somehow taught that we are not rational, we are predictably irrational. That's what the thing. So many of these companies, like there was some studies talking about behavioral economics, like 4 or 5 companies, including Apple and other companies, they invested to understand the behavioral economics and spent billions on it. And right now that actually is happening. All these companies, they are battling for your attention. That's what actually happening. So 60% of the world is online now. And more will become online. You know what Starlink by Elon Musk is doing? They're putting satellites everywhere. The whole world is going to get internet. If that is the case, like hyper-connected world. So average 40% of the awake time of this internet generation is online. And even, as you mentioned, even when they are not transmitting. So somehow we are like hypnotized by AI. There is no critical thinking. Critical thinking is going to be in autopilot mode. So critical thinking is somehow lost. If you want something, you just look at Google. Right now, ChatGPT is a new topic now. So internet is somehow like an interruption system. Something like, if you remember the glory days of tobacco is there, but nobody can tell, that is being captured by you. So like attention is somehow like a cocktail party effect. The book is telling cocktail party effect is something like you are talking to somebody in a party and somehow you overhear somebody's name or something, and suddenly you notice that you are not completely on this particular scenario like that. So that's what the thing. So it is all productivity tools. Yes, for sure, automation. Many of the things you are getting automated. Your phone is somehow like a supercomputer. We mentioned you can have everything there. Your email to your banking to your health, everything is there now. So all of your life is somehow there, but somehow you're hypnotized by that as well. So that's what the thing. So stress made by social media and bias made by social media is also there. So 650 billion is the loss on US economy by the lack of attention by the economy, digital distractions. So we live in somehow a world of multitasking as well. We think that multitasking is smart, but actually multitasking is a myth. You cannot do that. And the studies told that it will reduce your IQ by 12 points or something. I'm not sure exactly how that figures are there matching. So from Musk to Jobs, like Steve Jobs used to not give iPad to his children. Don't want to do that. So even all these people what we have now, they are not Bill Gates used to take summer vacation with a bunch of books. He even read, you can see YouTube videos, he's reading books on boat where in the middle of the ocean. He's not a digital. Even now we have e-readers and all, Kindles and Kobo and a lot of Barnes Noble and all. But the man who is behind all this, he's still reading paper books. But we live in a world where our senses are like a scrolling. Our senses are on scroll. That's what we are surrounded by, the weapons of mass distraction by the internet in a hyper-connected world and an automated world. Let's go straight to the next chapter. End of patience. So as I mentioned in the last chapter about Steve Jobs, like Elon Musk is trying to have a company, Neuralink, putting chip inside the brain. And you see our Apple is recently announced Apple Vision Pro. Like you have everything in front of your eyes. Somehow you know where that will go on the next version. So that's where we stand. So somehow social media is having a similar effect like what marijuana have on your brain. So that level of cortisol impact and all these things are happening on your brain. So patience, do we really lack in this digital or AI age? Because Socrates told that the fruit of patience is bittersweet. And Tolstoy mentioned it as a warrior. Your greatest of all warriors is who can have control on the time and patience. So we somehow have an AI-driven impatience. So if you remember old dial-up age where you hate buffering, but you still have patience that time. But that same buffering happen now, maybe you will even break your phone or break your screen. So our loss of patience have something go down too much now. So AI-driven platforms actually increase the impulsiveness in us. So studies show that grabbing, most of the generation, there is a big percentage, the first thing they will do is grabbing the phone within 5 minutes after the wake up. So that's where we stand. So TikTok is something like a digital cocaine, which somehow is a platform which used AI into that social media platform, and it reached 100 million to 1 billion in 3 years. So usually the expertise, because if you follow Malcolm Gladwell and all, like to become an expert on something, you need to have 5,000 years of 5,000 hours of expertise or something. But in expert in AI age now, like you can see many people who is sharing opinions in social media about so much bizarre things which only experts can answer, and they are just showing up as experts there. Because you can, for sure, you can click and get an information on a click, Google it. But somehow, is that really making us smart on that easy availability of information? The answer is no. That is not making us smart, because your brain is somehow like a relevant. It always focuses on the relevance. It doesn't capture everything what is there. Until and unless it is relevant to you, it will not capture. So when you are searching for it, when you are researching on something, that is something you are hunting for it. But when you are Googling it, and when you are easily getting it in a click, or now if you are more capsulated in a chat GPT, that's not going to make you smart. That's somehow making you indirectly dumb. That's what the thing is that. So we live in like faster information, as I mentioned, rumors and dissonance. So if you follow like rumors and this one, like lot of fake informations are being transmitted easily like that. So if just matches your opinion, like cognitive dissonance we call, like, okay, if that is, there is a bias there, if that somehow matches your way of debate on a topic, you just share it. You don't care whether it is real or fake or something. You are going to be there. So somehow we are being a decision fatigue. Imagine a position where AI recruit like staffs for the company and all, and the jury or a judge of a court is AI made machines and all. It look like maybe they will perform better than human beings to us, because we live like we are in a somehow a decision fatigue, like we cannot self control. Somehow human beings, like if you try to self control not using your phone, then something like, okay, not eat the cookie, you are being told that not, so that self control of cookie will consume your control energy or will energy. So usually Jeff Bezos used to tell that most important decisions he used to take it in the morning, because after that your decision, or if you see big people there, they don't spend more time on wearing which dress to wear. They make all same, like Steve Jobs, Zuckerberg, Barack Obama. So they want to preserve that decision energy or decision that is limited one. So they want to use it for, so that thing is getting lost now, because we are somehow losing that decision. We are on a decision fatigue now. So less digital is actually better, because we cannot go away from this. We cannot kill any of this technology. But what we can do is that we can be less digital or more optimally digital, more sleep oriented, not more impulsive. Think before the thing. Don't just consume capsulated information if somebody is telling. We can exercise and be patient. Even the physical exercises will reduce impulsiveness. There is a study like that. So that's something like we are living in an end of patience era, but we should practice patience. So let's go to the next chapter. Stephen Hawking famously told that the greatest enemy of the knowledge is the illusion of knowledge. So chapter 4 is Taming Bais. So actually our brain is not supposed to be for thinking. That's what research is telling. It has some other jobs. We consider it as a thinking machine, but no. So scrolling to ignorance. We used to scroll to just be on some bias, and we are getting ignored by that. As I mentioned, like supercomputer is on your pocket now. So on an earlier era where we have like Homo economics, where we consider it as human beings are more rational. So if you compare now also, actually yes, like we were more rational and pragmatic at that time. In somehow like a system 1 and system 2 thinking, if you follow Daniel Kahneman's fast thinking fast and slow and all, you'll understand where I'm going. So but the behavioral economics, what Kahneman later got Nobel Prize and all, so that actually changed our way we are thinking and all. So we are somehow taking the evidence to the outcome. So that's what that. So there is something like called that social psychologists to tell that we always consider the successful events as our personal achievements, and the losses as something not related to us. Something happened because of external environment or something like that. So optimism bias also. We somehow overestimate the positive part and underestimate the negative. So somehow if you think about how the companies are making installment plans and all, so we are somehow myopic about long term. So they'll think, okay, let it go at installment, it's fine, but we don't know how. So banks knows it, that's why they are using that one also. So optimism bias is also the same thing. We underestimate the negative part and we overestimate the positive parts like that. So to be optimist. So we are somehow biased, as we mentioned earlier. So I'm not going much on that same topic. So rational and open-minded. For sure, you are same time rational and irrational, but to open-minded is somehow like we should be taking the opinions of others. Like when you're reading a book, you are having in a conversation with an author, you are taking that views, or somehow humbly when I'm trying to explain. Similarly, when you read anything or when you hear from others, try to be understand that viewpoint, but it is not necessary that you have to be dissonant or you have to be biased on that. There is an interesting book by Adam Grant, Think Again, which explain a lot of this bias and all. Interesting book as well. So somehow AI is a pattern detection mechanism. Even your brain is a pattern. Most of the things it go in autopilot is because of this pattern detection. Like you're driving, you're brushing. Sometimes you even forget whether you brushed today, but it was automated. So that is somehow a pattern detection mechanism. Bias, it was there before AI. It is not something happened recently, but somehow think it is exposed by AI. So there is an illusion of knowledge, as we mentioned. So somehow right now easily somebody can become an expert now. Somebody can, so there is no something like a reality there, like, okay, you have actors and all these people, so they become like a hollow figure easily by like go viral on a short point of time and such thing. But if you really understand these algorithms like Cambridge Analytica, for example, that make Trump to win. That was the information we have. So, but that algorithm doesn't care if it is Trump or somebody else, it's Hillary or anybody else. Same thing, Brexit. That algorithm doesn't care whether Brexit, UK was inside EU or outside EU. So bias, those algorithms don't care. They're just doing their part because we are feeding them. But we are somehow using that information. All the people who read that one and then go for Cambridge Analytica and then vote for Trump and also getting out of Brexit, that influence is by us. We are becoming a tool for the algorithm. That's what really happening. So we are taming that bias. So somehow we should make that to understand we should keep an open mind and understand other person's view to reclaim what makes us unique. Otherwise we are simply like a tools for the machines. Let's go to the next chapter. It is being told that every week one person die because of selfies. That's what the book is telling. I don't know the exact figure. So narcissism, digital narcissism. So Narcissus, the person, a handsome guy who was so much emotionally detached, and he got being punished by Aphrodite, the god. So that's where this word narcissism has an origin. So when you love you too much, then you cannot love others. Somehow you become egotistical or egocentric, like that. So self-obsessed social media. That's what we see now. Like you can be easily obsessed. You cannot do it in a public thing, but you can do it on such platform. If you look at all what social media is doing or the content people are creating, like photos and all these are something telling like or acting or projecting unreal thing or self-obsession in front of, or they're just putting there. And on such platform, it is acceptable also. Self-obsession is getting legitimized and such a culture is acceptable on such platforms. That's what's happening now. So if you look at some studies telling that how many of you, there was taken a survey telling that how many of you are destined to be famous. And in 1920, where they taken that survey, 20% of them told that, okay, we are destined to be famous. We are born like to be famous like that. In 1950, that percentage increased to 40%. And in 1980, that percentage increased to 50%. 50% of people tell that, okay, we are destined to be famous. But in 2000, that goes to 80%. And I'm sure if they taken the survey now, Maybe it cross almost like 90 or 95 percentage. So that's where we are standing now. So compare and validate. We somehow compare us with the less successful people to validate our success. So something that's what happening now, like compare and validate. Compare with less successful. So when you're posting something or when somebody's posting something, that is getting a comparison automatic on a background. So that's what happening. So for sure that self-obsession is responsible for all the growths we have. From Thomas Edison to anywhere between Musk or Gates or Vanderbilt or Rockefeller or anywhere, for sure that desire to be appreciated has been created all this. But the thing is that we are somehow losing it and we are going to a virtual and fake world. Like most of the people are like actors now. So because easily you can fake the achievements. Fake it until you make it. We usually tell like that. But that's what happens. So 26 rich people in the world occupy 50% of the wealth. For sure, they are doing a lot of value there. But historically, it was not that way. Like we are getting admired by people in not that way. So you can detach. For sure, you are telling that, okay, you can easily detach to be practical. But that's not practical. The moment you are born on some family, then you cannot easily detach. So you are part of this ecosystem. Somehow the only way to get out of digital narcissism is that be humility and be like talent oriented. Be humility and appreciate other talent. Be humility to yourself. Be humble to yourself. Because we live in a world where like even hubris, if you see like some new actor or somebody come up, indirectly the first thing you look at these people before you start liking will be hubris. For sure, I told you before, self-obsession is, but hubris is also killing these people. So arrogance, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to tell that arrogance, the explanation of arrogance is that first one is that detach from the truth and somehow like that is not actually the point. So if you talk about like truth and you don't accept the truth and also you don't respect the people. So truth and people. So I don't know, it somehow look like not connecting, but if you think about it, it's actually making the meaning. So if you don't accept the truth of who you are, and if you are not appreciating the God in others or the importance in others, then that's what actually the simplest explanation of arrogance. And that arrogance growing up as hubris by self-obsession platforms and all. So that's somehow the solution for digital narcissism. In future, maybe Google will tell you what to study, whom to marry and where to work. So rise of predictable machines, chapter 6. So we are somehow getting turned into predictable machines. If you look at what you have done in last 1 month or some weeks, most of the things are predictable or somebody is predicting. As I explained before about shopping or anything, you are looking at the video or anything like that, you are scrolling between the shorts, the algorithm is somehow telling you what you will watch and your histories are telling. So we are somehow reducing the variety and richness of that. So we reducing the complexity. For sure, the automation is somehow reducing the complexity of that. Same thing what your brain is doing. You're reducing the complexity and making it automated. So that's for sure. But we have been reduced by choice. Choice of what? Choice by others. Like if you look at after behavioral economics, if you see how Apple is putting its products, like you don't have much options. You have only some. So that's what you are supposed to be. You are not going to dictate the choice. Others are dictating the choice. And also somehow consumer, it is being studied, told that consumer don't really want choice. What they really want is that confidence of their choice. They want to make sure that, okay, they are acting smart on their behalf. That's what the thing. So self-driving car to AI judges, like for sure we need self-driving car. We can have 1.35 million deaths. And here can be reduced by that, and most of the judgments happening by all the things are happening. But somehow we are in a Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome is famously syndrome where the kidnappers or the hostages, they like the kidnappers. For sure, that is something about Stockholm syndrome. So imagine now, you are being captured or kidnapped by these social media algorithms and AI algorithms, automated things. But you like them. So we are somehow in a Stockholm syndrome in a digital age. We can be predicted and we can be controlled. So for example, if we can predict a weather, somehow when we get predicted something, we are somehow in control. Like, so imagine you're negotiating to somebody. If you can predict that person, somehow you are going to be able to control that thing. So that's there. But right now, if you talk about business management, its father, Frederick Taylor, he told about assembly lines and all, about managing. He was somehow the father of business management. So he told about controlled by a distant brain. Like, theory X and theory Y, how people are being controlled and all. So that controlled by distant brain, in that time it was happening using supervisors and all. But right now it is happening, or we are getting supervised by these interruption systems or this artificial intelligence. So we are somehow the sum of predictions, or our day. Like for example, a day of me or a day of you is somehow a sum of predictions of this algorithm, and most of it is sum of algorithm. The food you are going to eat now, or the movie you are going to watch now, or what time you are going to sleep, all the things are being predicted now. As I mentioned in the beginning, the symphonies are getting created by the AI algorithm, by Schubert missing things, and many things like poems are created. But imagine you are being bullied or harassed by an AI boss. How you will feel it? It will lack something, because even now we have increase in mindfulness research and all. Serendipity, somehow we are losing that one. But the point is that where it will goes, so we have to be somehow unpredictable. You don't have to. So for sure, most of us understand that, but the solution is that you can become unpredictable, because these platforms are created by us. They can control us, but they cannot rule over us until we allow them to rule. So let's go to the next chapter. Automating curiosity. Albert Einstein famously said that I have not having any special talent. Instead, I am only passionately curious. That's what Albert Einstein is. So if you look at curiosity of a human being, an infant is more curious in understanding the world. But then after age 5, somehow that curiosity is going to decline by the culture, by the society, and somehow we will look and learn from others. That's what's happening. But AI, compared to a human being, it is obsessed to learn. It's obsessed to curious than humans, because it is being told to do so. So obsessed and instructed learning. So actually the importance of knowledge is not giving, or the greatness of knowledge is giving you good answer, but instead in asking good questions. That's what important. So antidote to automation is actually learnability, because we are giving algorithm to learn something. But if we are adaptive and learnable on different aspects, you can easily beat this automation part. Because what automation is doing is that what you are doing, it is trying to automate it. But if you can learn something, or learnability is somehow an antidote to that. instead of optimizing, because automation is somehow optimizing the performance. Because AI, so imagine a scenario like a Spotify is suggesting you some music based on what? Based on maybe your search history, what you watch, all such playlists you saved, and lot of things. But it is not necessarily the song you like that night, that time. Why? Because that intelligence lacks theory and context. I'll tell you a little more. Suppose a friend and Spotify is there. A friend may be easily able to predict what song you like in that moment than AI. Now, I'm telling, maybe later, like when Neuralink and other things come, it will change. Because maybe you are in a different mood. You wake up in a different mood today. Your friend knows that you are somehow emotionally disturbed or something. But the Spotify don't know that. And for sure, maybe you search or something, but somehow lack that theory and context. So that makes us, we can be more curious and so we are somehow in a crisis of misunderstanding. Human being can only, like, we can be irrational by a reason. So that is the important. So we don't have to be rational. We don't have to be automated. We don't have to curious or automate our curiosity. All the things what we have, what we can learn, all such things will happen by that curiosity, that passions, everything will originate from that. So let it be there. Let the optimization of performance is done by these AI platforms, but you can still have your context and your theory inside you until and unless you can claim your uniqueness there. So let us go to the next chapter, the last one. German explorer Alexander Humboldt told that our aim of our existence is to distill the wildest of our experience into wisdom. So how to be human? Chapter 8. Control and reduction. Maya Angelou, the famous poet, tells that you cannot control all what is happening in your life. But what you can do is that not to be reduced by them or not to be controlled by them. Let you be in control. Let you be the captain of the ship. So industrialization to AI. When we have industrialization, we know when we have computerization, if you particularly remember, you see that there are a lot of people losing jobs, but something else is created. When drones are there, aerial photography is lost. Even nowadays, many jobs are getting redundant because of these platforms and all. Like similar to what translations and even the programming is getting automated. Many companies are making it automated, like Cisco and all. So all these things are getting automated now. But the point is that when that is happening, actually equivalent amount of different jobs are creating. But AI cannot do everything. So you do still have a hope on that. So especially driving. The Uber drivers used to have two jobs, they are telling. First one for sure, to carry people from one place to other. Second one is to teach the AI. So for example, even the Tesla car, it is somehow the most interesting or the greatest part is about that learning of that car, the self-driving and this thing. A lot of data being retrieved, and that's how they have an edge on this. So a lot of things has been learned and understand by that. But the point is that where we are going, because human beings have two tragedies as per Oscar Wilde. First one is to getting what they think they want. Second one is not getting it. So both of them is tragedy. Because we live in a world now that happiness is the most thing what we are seeking for. We somehow believe in that way, like be happy, that is the purpose of life. But is that really the purpose of life? Actually, no. Because if you look at the biographies of the histories, all this great creation, even the Tesla or the SpaceX, Musk was being just not being properly attended on an interview. He just got discontent and he created that. Rockefeller was being insulted by someone and he go and created the billionaire empire. You see a lot of people similar to that, from Steve Jobs to very discontent, and like somebody have a pain. Like most of the apps, like it is being created to solve a problem. So it is going to create, they are not comfortable with that status quo. So they go and create something. So happiness is not, or the existence or the purpose of life is not in the happiness. It is something in that discontentness. We have a book in our channel called Bittersweet by Susan Cain, something talking about that also. So even Mahatma Gandhi told that to find you have to lose yourself in the interest of others. That's where you are going to find you. Instead of you become a data emission vessel, how to be human in this AI age is just to lose yourself in the interest of others. With that conclusion, we will close this chapter. Until we come across with the next book, thank you for all your support. Please feel free to share your feedback and comments. Thank you for now. Bye. If you enjoy this summary, like and follow us. We love to see your insights in the comment box. Subscribe,